Welcome to the best board games of 2024. Now this year was an incredible year and I reviewed and previewed 25 games this year, and what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to rank them from 25 down to 1. So let's go check out what was my favorite board game of 2024. Number 25, and we have Maps of Misterra. Now, I actually enjoyed this game. We are cartographers and we are going out, we're mapping this mysterious island and we're doing it on our old school parchment, drawing what we see. The reason why this came in at number 25 is I've kind of lost that interest in getting it to the table. Now, it's a really good puzzle because that puzzle is constantly changing, but maybe that reason why it's constantly changing is the reason why I'm kind of frustrated with it. So especially at higher player counts, that main map, that main island is forever changing. So you're trying to map it out and it gets so frustrating because people come in and constantly change it, and I just didn't want to play it again. But look, this is a good game. Maps of Misterra, go check it out, my number 25. Number 24, Command of Nature. And you're playing as one of 4 factions: Leaf, Twig, Pebble, and Droplet. And you're going to choose one of these factions and you're going to go head to head in this 2-player, well, you can play 4-player as well, but 2-player mainly dueling card game. Now, it's going to be a deck builder with beautiful, unstable games artwork. I absolutely love the artwork and I love the premise of this. The problem is it just felt like it wasn't play tested properly. The factions didn't feel balanced to me. Plus also the gameplay was ridiculously long for what this is. This game could have been in my top 10. Could have been brilliant. But unfortunately, just like Casting Shadows before it, it just felt let down. So it just didn't feel truly play tested. Anyway, 24, Command of Nature. Number 23, New York Emergency Room from Medical Mysteries. Now, this is such an innovative game. In this game, you're playing as a doctor. You've got real world cases there that you have to examine, analyze, and try and figure out what is going wrong with these people. It is some of the most interesting, brain-burning stuff I've absolutely really enjoyed. Now, the problem with this game is there's only 4 cases, I think 5 cases in there. Once you've solved them, I've done them all. That's the problem, that's why it falls down to number 23. Not because it's a bad game, but because I finished it and I obviously can't go back to it again, but it is such an interesting game. You're going to be using real world drugs, real world exams and everything like that, and you've got to think like a doctor. It is fascinating. 23, Medical Mysteries, New York Emergency Room. Can I let you in on a little secret? Look, it was getting pretty hot outside. I was getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, so I decided to pack everything up, bring it back to the studio, and let's get back into this. We still got 22 games to get through. So, at number 22, we have Age of Eon. Now, Age of Eon is another 2-player dueling game, just like Command of Nature, but it does it better. Now, the reason it does it better is the gameplay is nice and quick, about 20-minute games, brilliant design, absolutely love it, Australian designer. So what we're doing here is we're playing over 3 different lands, and those lands, we get to put our cards out, up to 3 cards in each land, and we're trying to win those particular lands. Win 2 of those 3 lands, your demigod survives to live and fight another day, and you keep fighting on until all of your demigods are gone. That is the premise. Beautiful fantasy world. I really like it. Now, the reason it falls back to 22 is because, to be honest, 2-player dueling games aren't my favorite types of games. Simple as that. Very biased thing, but at the end of the day, this is my list. So look, 2-player dueling games, fortunately, always going to rank a little bit higher than some of the others, or lower. Anyway, you know what I mean. Okay. Let's move over to 21, and we've got Survive the Island. Now, Survive the Island is a remake of Survive Escape from Atlantis, which is also a remake from, I think, just Escape from Atlantis. But anyway, look, it's an old game now, but it's been refreshed, modern components, looks great on the table. Now, what is the premise? Well, the premise is you are surviving this island with these waters rising up. Now, you've got a whole bunch of people on there that you're trying to get them to either swim or jump on a raft to safety to get to the safety of these corner islands. Problem is, there's going to be some monsters chasing after you. There's going to be sharks, kaijus, and sea serpents all trying to get you as these islands rising. It's super simple gameplay. Now, it's 21 because unfortunately, it just didn't work for me. The gameplay felt a little bit dated for me. But for a lot of people, they're going to be very passionate about this. This has been around for such a long time. Very simple game to play. And my youngest kid, 9-year-old daughter, she absolutely loved it. So, you know, there's definitely a massive audience for this. But for me, it just didn't do it for me. And now number 20. And we have Catan Starfarers Duel. Now, this is a two-player version of Catan where we're now going into space and we're on this spaceship and we're going to be collecting resources on the spaceship and we're going to go out to these sector cards and we're going to be basically visiting all of these planets and stuff like that. Now, this is a great two-player version of Catan and a lot of people really love this version. Now, the reason why it didn't work for me, well, originally they gave me the wrong dice. So in the English version that they printed off, there was this 1 to 6 pip die that needed to be 1 to 3 pip die. Now you think to yourself, oh, not a big deal? No, it was a massive deal. It completely changed the gameplay, made the gameplay super long. It was just, yeah, it wasn't great. Anyway, to their credit, they sent me out a new die, which I'm absolutely wrapped with. Thank you so much for doing that. And look, I now can play and enjoy the game how it's meant to be. So I think, if this was one of those things where that didn't happen to me, maybe it would have been ranked, a bit lower on my list. But, it is what it is. Bit of a manufacturing fault, but the gameplay is still super solid. So if you love Catan, try out Catan Starfarers Duel. Number 19, and we are still in space, but this time we are in Star Tycoon. Now, Star Tycoon gives me serious vibes of Splendor. Now, if you know Splendor, the way Splendor works is you're going to get resources, trade those resources in for cards. Those cards will also have resources on them as well, which will then help you give you more resources, which will help get you better cards, which helps you win the game. Pretty much Star Tycoon. But in this game, it's a lot heavier than Splendor. There's a lot more going on. In this instance, we're collecting developments, and those developments need to go on these planets. Now, there's a whole bunch of goals and stuff we're going for. We also have a galactic market, which is constantly shifting the value of the resources. So much going on. Now, I haven't reviewed this. I reviewed this quite a while ago. I think there's some recency bias going on with my top 25 now I think about it, because this game was brilliant. But anyway, number 19 for now, Star Tycoon. So let's move over to number 18. We're back into Catan world again. We have Catan New Energies. Now, if you know the original Catan, this has replaced that original Catan for me. Now, unlike Starfarers Duel, where it's a very different game, this is going to be very similar to how you played the original. Now, in this game, we now have fossil fuels and we have green energy we need to balance. Look, it's basically, again, think of it the same thing. You're collecting resources, trading those resources in for well, it used to be cities and roads and things like that. Well, we're doing the same sort of thing, but now just include fossil fuels and there's energy. There's just a lot more going on. This is more of a gamer's game. I love Catan New Energies. And number 17, ooh, Perspectives. Now, this is from Matthew Dunstan, and I really rate this game. Now, this game, all you have is a series of cards. I think something like 12 cards per case. And there's 3 cases in this box. There's actually a new game that's come out called Perspectives Blue, which gives you another 3 cases. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to get these cards. But the thing is, however you're playing, how many people you're playing with, you're going to spread those cards evenly amongst people. Now, the thing is, you can only look at your cards. You have nothing else to go on. And everyone else is going to look at their cards, and you can't share the photos with each other. So you're just going to have to try and describe what you're seeing and try and piece together how this mystery unfolded. Now, the first one is some museum heist. The second one, there was a poisoning. The third one is like some gangland murders in South America. Look, great cases. And again, all you have is 12 or so images to go off. And like I said, you can't share it. And you can actually play this online. I played this with my mate in Newcastle, and I just sent him half the cards. I had the other half, and we just described them. It was great. We had so much fun. So look, Perspectives, I really love it, and that's my number 17. Now the next 3 games are all perfect for the family, and we're going to start off with Surf's Up. Now Surf's Up is a lightweight auction game where you're bidding on these waves that are coming in, crashing into the shore. It is beautiful looking, got this neoprene mat, and you're going to be bidding. You've got cards number 1 to 5, and you're going to be silently bidding on these waves as they come in. They're all worth different values. Now here's the thing, if you bid the same amount as someone else around the table, then you wipe out and you're out of the auction, and obviously the next person will come in and win. Now you're also going to have negative cards, which are the blue bottles. You're going to have these energy cards, which are going to be temporary, one-time use only cards that you can bid with. A lot of things to love. Now, I really love High Society. It's one of my favorite auction games, but Surf's Up is pretty much rivaling that now. It's a great game from an up-and-coming Australian designer. Love me some Surf's Up. 15, Fairy Ring, another game. Now this game has some serious table presence. I love the artwork. It is so vibrant and colourful. Now we are fairies going around this fairy ring, visiting all these different mushroom villages. Now it sounds a bit, wait until you play it. It is so much fun. Now it's basically based around set collection. What's going to happen is you're going to be playing out your mushrooms either to the left or right of your village, and then whatever number that card that you just played, you're going to move your fairy around the ring that many places. Now here's the catch. If you land on someone else of this mushroom village, they're going to get the points for you landing on their mushroom. But the thing is, you want to time it so you also have the same matching mushroom. And if you do that, you will also get points. Obviously, then try and time it around so you come back and land on your own mushroom village. A lot of fun, great family game. And again, the table presence is through the roof. And what are we up to? I think it's number 14 now, Nekojima. Now, Nekojima, oh, this is the best dexterity game. Now, we are electricity poles in Japan, and we're also balancing cats on them. It's just crazy. Anyway, it is one of the most fun balancing dexterity games I've ever played. On your turn, you're basically going to be putting out these poles, and they're going to be different lengths. Now, these poles can't touch each other, the wires can't touch each other, the cats can't touch any other wire. It's going to just get higher and higher, and it's going to get like more and more complex as you're trying to make things work. And if you touch anything, you'll knock it over, you're out. It is the best dexterity game. I love Nekojima. So there we go. It's 3 great family games. Now, 13 through to 11, and these are all medium weight Euros, and these are very much in my wheelhouse. Now, Rats of Wistar, I'm going to start off with. We are rats, and we've escaped from this Wistar Institute, and we're trying to start this new life, and we found this farmhouse, this abandoned farmhouse. We're going to be trying to set up our own village there and bring in more mice and just have a great old time. This is going to be a rondel placement game where we're going to be putting our workers out onto this rondel. That's going to tell us the worker placement spots that we're going to be able to use. Now, look, there's a whole bunch of things. There's a whole bunch of invention cards. Again, we need to bring in more mice. We need to get our place all looking good, get more bedrooms going. Bunch of fun Euro stuff. Look, it's from Danilo Sabala there and Simone Luciani. Look, you're going to know those designers there. Look, if you love any of those other Italian design Euros, then you're going to love Rats of Wistar. Next up, we have Bardwood Grove. Now, Bardwood Grove is from the 5 Realms universe, which now there's a 6th realm, but anyway, that gets confusing. Look, Bardwood Grove is from the same designers and same people as Merchant's Cove, and you know I love me some Merchant's Cove. Now, in Bardwood Grove, we are playing as bards, and we're playing this beautiful music. And it's a really interesting mechanic in this game where you're going to be playing out 2 cards per turn. One's going to be going into your story, which basically you're going to be just using for the resources. The other one you're going to be putting into your song, which is slowly building out your tableau, and eventually you're going to get enough tempo and a whole bunch of other things. Anyway, look, eventually you're going to be playing this song. It's going to be beautiful, but that song is actually a whole bunch of worker placement things that you can do as well. Look, Bardwood Grove, a brilliant multiplayer game. I just didn't like the solo, but the problem is the game itself is really good. The solo they went way too complex. It is absolute, yeah, spend a day trying to learn that rule book and then get to play that Bardwood Grove solo. But anyway, the game itself still brilliant. And then lastly, let's talk about Wyrmspan. Now, Wyrmspan, obviously very similar to Wingspan, but we are now dragons. So you're going to know this is a tableau building thing. Well, it's slightly different. Remember with Wingspan, we were always going basically right to left when we were bouncing across the cards and getting the actions. This time we're going to be going left to right. Anyway, look, a few changes. Actually, mechanically, it's a better game. I just don't like dragons like I love me some birds. So Wyrmspan, for a lot of people, this is going to be better than Wingspan. For me, unfortunately, just misses out mainly on the theme, but mechanically, really good game, Wyrmspan. Number 10 is the 2-player version of Tokaido. We have Tokaido Duo. Now, in the original, you're going on this serene journey along this Tokaido trail. In this game, we're on a smaller island, and we're actually playing as 3 different meeples. We're playing as the artist, the pilgrim, and the merchant, and they all have different ways of interacting with the island, different ways to get around the island also. It is a great 2-player version, very different to the original, but keeps the same vibes of Tokaido. I really love Tokaido Duo. Forever Home is my number 9, and this game is my guess it's my go-to introductory game at the moment. I really love how Forever Home has such a wholesome theme where you're rehoming dogs, but in such simple gameplay as well that anyone can pick up and enjoy this game. Now, what you're basically trying to do is you're bringing in these dogs into your home. You're going to be putting them out, onto your board in certain shapes that are going to match your training cards. Once you achieve that, then a certain amount of those dogs can be rehomed to different areas. Great solo mode. I don't know, just a perfect introductory game. Forever Home. It's pretty hard to choose between these two, but let's go with Lacuna for number 8. And Lacuna is one of the most easy to pick up games that you'll ever experience. What do we have in front of us? We have a mat, which is a pond, and you've got these flowers spread out amongst this pond. Now from here, you've got a whole different color flowers, and you're trying to win the majority of each of those colors. Now, it's played over 2 distinct phases. The first phase, you're putting your pawn out between 2 identical colored flowers. Then you collect those 2 flowers, and everyone's going to do that until all their pawns are gone. Then after that, you're going to have pawns left over on the table, plus also extra flowers left over on the table. From there, it's just a area thing. Wherever one you're closest to, you're going to win those flowers, and you keep going until all those flowers are picked up, and you just count up who has the most flowers of each color, and that's the winner. It's a 2-player only game. It is beautiful. It is brilliant. Really, really rate Lacuna. And let's go to number 7, Trekking Through History. Now, this was probably my biggest surprise packet of 2024. I wasn't expecting to love this game as much as I do. Now, in Trekking Through History, we are, as they say, we're going back in time. We're going to be visiting all of these events in history. Now, our idea is we're going to be spending resources to collect these event cards, and these event cards need to be stacked in chronological order. And the more we have in chronological order, the bigger the points we score. But the interesting part about this as well is time is in a way its own resource, because we're going to be spending time to be able to get these resources, get these cards, and it's just a brilliant thing. You'll be playing it over like a 12-hour day, and Trekking Through History has one of the best solo modes. I really love the solo mode. I play this quite often solo. I love Trekking Through History. Just such a great gem of a game that people just don't talk about. So there we go, 7. We've only got 6 to go. What have we got? What is going to be the number 1 game of 2024? Let's start off at number 6, and we have MLEM Space Agency. Now, this is my most recent review, which I only put up a couple of days ago, and no one's seen it. I don't know why no one's watching that video, because this is a great game. Now, this is a push your luck game by Ryan Knizia, where you're going to be rolling dice, trying to get your rocket high up, visiting as many planets and moons as possible, when your space cats jump off, and obviously gives you a whole bunch of points. It is my favorite push your luck game. It is so much fun. MLEM, I don't know why no one's watching that video. It makes me like a real sad panda. Anyway, that is my number 6. Number 5, and we're back to birds. I love birds so much. Nestlings. This is an area majority game, and you're going out and you're fighting over these 5 different biomes. And the way you're going to do that is by rolling these dice, and then you'll be putting them out in different biomes. Now, these biomes are going to give us resources to be able to feed our nestlings. Makes perfect sense. But we're also going to be able to put them in our biome wheel. We've got a whole bunch of objectives we're fighting for. Just such a fun game, and probably my favorite area majority game. So there you go, Nestlings. Go check that out if you haven't seen that one before. And number 4, look, I probably should have mentioned this right at the start. Remember, this list isn't all 2024 games. These are just games I reviewed in 2024. This is actually a 2023 game, and this is Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. Now, this should be my number 1 because it's one of my favorite games of all time, but I think it's just because I haven't played it much lately, and these other games right now, feeling more vibes about. I'm really loving these next 3 after this. But anyway, Sleeping Gods Distant Skies is a campaign game from Ryan Lockett, where you're going out, it's 1937, and you've crashed this plane, and you're exploring over this atlas, and it's just so much exploration, fighting monsters, just a brilliant campaign game, probably the best campaign game out there. And now, this is a standalone sequel to the original Sleeping Gods. You can play either of them. They're both brilliant. You know, this maybe sort of fine-tunes a few things, but pretty much much and muchness of the same. So, look, if you love campaign games, if you love Ryan Lockett games, Red Raven games, you will love Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. Now, let's go check out what are my top 3 games of 2024. Now, the thing that surprises me the most about this list is the next ones, number 3 and number 2, are both cooperative games, which generally I don't normally enjoy. But these two are brilliant. So, number 3 is Dungeon Legends. This is in the Chronicles of a Vel universe, and it sees us as heroes fighting off these monsters trying to escape into this palace. Now, it's going to be a deck builder. We're going to get this series of cards, and we're going to get even better cards over the course of the game. We're going to be using those cards to go into different places, different worker placement spots along the dungeon there. Now, again, I don't normally like dungeon crawlers either, so the fact I truly love this game means this game is really good. So, Dungeon Legends, I'm hearing nothing but great things from it, and I can also vouch for it. It is such a brilliant game. So, there we go, campaign game. I mean, 5 different campaigns, so much fun. Dungeon crawler that's actually worth your time and effort. Number 2, and we have the other cooperative campaign game, Peacemakers Horrors of War. Now, why is no one talking about this game? It's so different to anything else I have in my collection. This is from Snowdale Designs, who have created Dale of Merchants and Lands of Galzia, games that I love. But I think I love this game more than all of them. What are we? We're a whole bunch of animal warring factions fighting each other, and we're playing these peacemakers in the middle that are trying to manipulate the conflict so that we get peace between the warring factions. Now, if we don't balance that just right, what's going to happen is one side will surrender and then the other side will win. We don't want that. We need them to be able to come down at the same level so we get peace. So they basically, unfortunately, people will die, and that's war. But we need to be able to do it at the same rate, so they both sort of go, you know what, this war is not worth it anymore. Let's get into peace talks. And the way they do it is just brilliant. It's always such a tense battle. I think this might be 6 campaigns. Could be getting those two mixed up. But anyway, you'll be playing these campaigns, and now all of these are asymmetric sort of factions that you're going to be playing as. Just fun. Like, the best of the lot. Peacemakers, this will truly be in my top 10 board games of all time. I rate this so heavily. But let's see what has beaten both of those two to the number 1 spot. Let me just grab it behind me. I'll be back in a sec. In Wondrous Creatures, you play as a creature enthusiast, and you're going to be trying to bring in all of these crazy and unique creatures into your own habitat. Now, this game is worker placement and tableau building at its absolute finest, and it's my number 1 game of 2024. Now, this is from Bad Comic Games, who are known for their incredible meeples, and they don't let us down again. Now, we're going to be putting out these workers, these incredible meeples, out onto this board, and they're going to be taking up 2 hexes, and from there we're going to be collecting stuff from the adjacent habitats to where our meeple was placed. Now, that could be in the form of resources, or it could be in the form of cards. Now, those resources are actually going to help you eventually play out those cards into your tableau. It's going to be a whole bunch of cascading effects. It is just tableau building at its absolute finest. Now, if you love games like Everdell, then you will truly love Wondrous Creatures. It is the perfect game for me. Medium weight, tableau builder, just with beautiful art. Now, that art by Sophia Kang, over 100 different unique illustrated cards. It's just perfect. This game is amazing. Everything you're hearing about it is spot on. It's a brilliant game. So there we go. My number 1 game of 2024 is Wondrous Creatures.